What's going on, CCM Magazine family? Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a treat for you. I have none other than Israel Houghton with me today. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm
It's a
doing
pleasure.
great, doing great.
Thank
So
you.
glad to have you on today. I've just been looking through your journey as an artist, and it says your first album came out in 1997. So you've literally been producing music for over 2 decades now. So
It's crazy.
what has that
Absolutely.
journey been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun journey. It's been more rewarding than not, most days I still can't believe that this is what I do for a living and get to do and it really is a get to. It feels like a privilege, to be able to do this because I would do it anyway. I feel
Mm.
like I would do what I'm doing right now anyway, regardless of it being a career or regardless of it being, something that keeps the lights on in my home.
Right, right. Well, of course, you've got several albums out, and some albums that stand out to me personally are New Season, which
Mm,
came out in 2001, and then Live from Another Level, which
yeah,
came out in 2004. And
yeah.
that song, Another Level, to me, I just want to know your thought behind that song. When you made that Another Level, what were you trying to get from God at that point in your life?
I don't know. I always felt like New Breed was always, I mean, listen, if I were to boast about anything, it would be this. It always felt like we were a year or two ahead of what was getting ready to be said. I don't
Mm,
know how else to put that. Like we would say new season, and then, 2 years later, everybody was like, it's a new season. It's like, wow, that's kind of cool that, we felt like we are plugged in enough to feel like we're hearing from God on this. Same with
mm,
Another Level. Like it just felt like, and all of that at that time felt like this is a journey. You don't ever get stuck in one place. We're always moving forward. Moving forward was another statement that we
yes.
made, a few years after
Mm,
that I just heard everywhere. And I feel like, not to get too theological, but universe, one word. Universe breaks down to one word,
mm,
universe. And I believe that God says something to the earth, and those who have ears to hear it and grab it and run with it. And
mm,
those who don't sort of miss it or echo it later. And I'm of the mind that God speaks it, and
mm.
whoever grabs it, grabs it. So if you don't grab it, Toyota might. If you don't grab it, Nike might. You know what I mean? But it's still the same thing that heaven is saying over the earth. So we've always sort of tried to be as tuned into that as possible and hopefully put it to something that sticks to people when they sing it and sing along with it.
Right. Well, I knew I was doing an interview today, but I didn't know I was coming to get a word. Now, I didn't know I was coming in for that. But wow, thank you for dropping that. And I think that's important. I think what you're saying is basically you're just a vessel for God to pour into. And so,
Always.
what you're saying in this season, you just repeating what you've already heard Him say to you.
I,
Um,
I really think so, and I even think like the concept of worship anywhere, the new record is just that. Like it
mm,
feels like if you look at the last 2.5 years that we've gone through, it was like you better be able to worship anywhere because some churches are closed. You know what I mean?
right.
We're dealing with for a while there, like a really, really, insidious disease and virus that was killing healthy people that we all
Mm,
knew and loved. And so the idea of like I can have a worship experience in my car, in my house, in my living room, in a park, at a we overturned clubs and made turned them into sanctuaries, you know what I
mm,
mean? And it just was like I think some of that old thinking of like God will only show up if, the windows are stained and there's a big enough cross. You know what I mean? Like the
mm.
steeple is, and it's like once we sort of did away with all that and just realized that God is spirit and those who worship him can worship him in spirit and truth and worship him anywhere. It just feels like the word for right now.
Mm. Wow. Well, like you said, so you got Worship Anywhere this coming out. Well, that has just come out actually, came out this
Yeah,
past
yeah,
Friday. So you actually just released two live performance albums on last year. So you're
yeah,
already hitting us with something new already. So what would you
yeah.
say maybe the process has changed over the years with production and the time of getting an album out, and just how has that process maybe changed over the years?
I think it's changed a lot, especially with the rise of technology. Like it used to be like we would do a record every 18 months. You know, you put the record out on CD or cassette,
Mm,
you're taking it way back. And people would go buy the CD, they'd like it, they'd, hopefully sing some of the songs in their churches, hopefully radio would grab it. Then you
mhm,
announce a tour and you go tour it and, and set up for the next one. Now it's like, I feel like the metric is completely changed. Now it just feels like it's about content. Like anytime we
mhm.
come together, let's capture it and see what happens.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be as polished, and it actually shouldn't be as polished. It ought to feel like you're in the room with us and this is happening. So this time around for this project, we like doubled down on that, quadrupled down on that, and
Mm,
even in the way we shot it, like, and captured it, is like I want the listener, I want the viewer to feel like they're in the middle of the room with us the
mm.
entire time. And I'm really happy with how that has come together. So anybody watching and listening right now, like definitely check out the video for this, the virtual uh, worship night from this, because it's very, very special.
Yeah, and I've seen several videos from the album already that you have posted little clips and snippets of, and I just gotta say you can feel the power through the video, and that's kind of, like you said, you want everybody to feel like that they're with you in the process, but I feel like I'm at the worship experience myself just watching it, and I
Praise
think that's
God.
powerful. I think that's
That
such a
was the
powerful thing
goal
to be
for
able to
sure.
do.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Well, so I know your wife sings as well, and she sung on some of the songs and albums with you. So does she kind of help out with the writing process as well? Do you guys kind of collab on some of these songs?
She does. She's funny that way. Like she'll give great ideas. Like the opening cut is New Breed Anthem, and she was very, very instrumental in that coming together.
Mm.
And then when it's time to go, okay, well let's list the writers. She's like, I didn't write on that. I was just she's very humble that way, but she's extremely creative. The last three projects we've done, I've made sure that she's the producer of it with me, because
Mm.
that's how she thinks, that's her background, that's how she rolls. And most of these projects have been her concept anyway. So it's just, I love being in partnership with her, and I feel like there's so much purpose around our partnership, and it helps that she's just really, really good at what she does.
Yeah, it's one thing when they have a desire but they can't do it. You're like, well, honey, maybe not. but that's awesome. So you guys are actually coming up on 6 years of marriage, right?
Six
Next month.
years, 6 years next month, man. Yeah, we're really excited about that.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on that. And congratulations on adding a new member to the family. Tell us how that's
Yeah,
been.
man. Ever James, he's amazing. And I gotta say, he's sort of changed the way I worship. I, you
Wow.
know, I don't know if I was expecting that, but just there's this overwhelming sense of standing in this moment of gratitude. Like, God, you
Mm.
have been so faithful. You have been so faithful. And it would take a much longer podcast to have that conversation. But I am just so thankful for the kindness of God. I appreciate the Lord. I appreciate what He's done in my life, and the hills and valleys that He's carried me through.
Right. Well, that's a beautiful name, Ever James. Where did the name Ever come from?
When we got married in Paris, our little hashtag was happily ever Houghton. And
Mm,
after a while, we're like, Ever Houghton sounds like such a cool name, and Ever James, my biological father's name is James. And so all
mm.
my sisters have named all their kids something James. And so they all have the middle name James. So we followed suit, and I think Ever James is a pretty strong name.
Right. Well, I think that's awesome. So you guys have been able to kind of balance the home and work life together. Both of
Yeah.
you are artists and entrepreneurs. So, are you able to kind of balance that now?
It is, yeah, and it's been interesting. It's been fun to kind of, with all due respect to everybody else, to be able to say no to a lot of things and just go,
Mm,
yeah, we're going to be home. We're going to raise this little guy, and we're only going to get out when it's absolutely necessary.
right.
And for me, I lived a whole other life, and
Mm,
had a I've been through changing diapers a bunch of times now. And so to kind of full circle that, I'm just really, really motivated to do it right,
mm.
to be present and to just make these moments count this time around. And so I'm really in my bag, as they say. Like I'm just really, really enjoying being a dad. It's, it's them nights when you don't know if you're awake or asleep, and you get up and the baby's crying. You got to feed him,
Mm,
and and instead of being frustrated, you just go, man, we prayed for this. This is what we prayed for.
right.
This is what we fasted and believed for, and here we are. So I could never complain about
Wow.
these. Yeah.
Well, it's not something I've got to experience yet, but just seeing that smile on your face makes me ready to experience it even more. So
Come on, man. Come
that's
on in.
awesome. Yeah. Well, anyway, of course, you've got this album out now, Worship Anywhere. And you already kind of told us the premise behind it. The pandemic made us realize that we've got to do more than just worship in the four walls.
Yeah.
So there are some special guests on the album as well. You want to tell us about that?
Doe Jones, she goes by Doe. She's amazing. She's done the last
Nice.
few projects with her. We love her. She's our sister. She's the type that I called and said, "Hey, we're doing this retreat called Camp New Breed. You want to come?" And she's like, "I'm
Mm,
there." And it wasn't, "You're doing this song. Have your lawyer call our manager." It was none of that. It was just like
right,
so.
right.
And same with Joel Barnes, same with Nate Diaz, same with Anna Sailors, who we absolutely love. Anna might probably shock everybody on this record. There's a song
Mm,
called Blessing and Honor that she sings on. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And we tag it with Worthy, which she's, sort of famous for singing with Elevation.
mm,
So yeah, I'm really happy that the special guests, none of them felt like guests. They're all friends and family. And so I feel like the flow of that, the ease of that, the unity of that is
mm.
really what shines through. And then the songs, I feel good about the songs, but they're only good if everybody else feels good about them.
Right.
So, but I feel good about them and the way they were executed, and hopefully it'll make the connection that we had made with us. The connection that was made with us was palpable and tangible and transformative. So
Mm.
the hope is that that affects the listener and the viewer the same way.
Right. Well, like I told you before, watching the videos already, I've been able to feel something, especially with the song Joel was singing on. Joel
Wrong
Barnes, he was singing The Truth. Is it The Truth About You? Is that the name of the song?
It's called Wrong About You. Like, I'm so glad I was wrong about you. And we
Wrong
did
about
it that way because it was provocative. I guess we could have said the truth about you. We called it Wrong About You. And I wanted people to lean in a little bit, like, what does this song mean?
you. Right.
And Joelle and I wrote it with an amazing artist and songwriter named Amanda Cook.
Mm,
And when we were finished writing it, which it didn't take a long time to write the song, it took a long time to conceptualize the song and talk about it.
mm,
But then when we actually went to write the song, it came really quick. And the
right.
whole premise of it was, I am so glad that I was wrong about some of the things that I believed about God,
Mm,
because I believed he was angry. I believed he was distant. I believed that he would strike me down at any moment if I got out of line. And what I came to find out was, in moments where I did get out of line and expected him to turn his back on me, and expected rejection, and
mm.
expected isolation and banishment, what I found was he was just as faithful as he was the day before, and
Wow.
that he was still there. And that mercy, when he says his mercies are new every single morning, it's real. I experienced it. I sang "You Are Good" all the time, and all the time "You Are Good" for the last 20 years. And I didn't realize that I was singing truth over myself
Mm,
until he was good in the worst of times. In times where I expected him to go, "Yeah, man, go clean yourself up and then come back and talk to me." It
mm.
wasn't that at all. It was, "I'm still here. I'm still your father. You're still my kid. Let's get it right."
Wow.
And so, there's something about this song being an up-tempo song. I've had pastors, I just had breakfast with a pastor yesterday who's like, "Bro, I listened to this song and I started crying. And I don't know why I'm crying on an up-tempo song." And I said, "Man, I get it. I've had a lump in my throat every time leading that song the last, 2 months."
Mm,
So the last song that ever affected me like that as an up-tempo song, believe it or not, was 20 years ago, and that was "Friend of God."
mm. Wow.
Friend of God, I would sing it live and cry every time. Just cry. Couldn't get through it. I'd look at grown men in the audience just sobbing and crying and going, because there's something about singing truth over yourself and connecting to the heart of God that whether it's slow or fast, minor or major, it's going to affect you.
Wow. Well, you were preaching today, man. You were really you were really giving us a word today. Wow. I think that's so powerful because what you're saying is that the songs really minister to you. You know, you're not just writing music to try to make another hit or just to resonate with people, but you're writing something that first is ministered to you, and that comes forth.
That's kind of always the barometer for me. That's the test for me. Like if it moves me, I mean, not necessarily crying on everything I write, but like
Right.
if I feel that, if it resonates, then there's a good chance that it's going to resonate with others. And there are other songs that we've written that just are cool or clever or felt good in the moment that don't really have that impact. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But there's those ones every now and again, you know, moving forward or Jesus at the center, or you know what I mean, that just you minister those songs from a place that you've been ministered to already. And so yeah, I think this is one of those songs for sure.
Wow. Wow. Well, tell me real quick about the idea for Camp New Breed. I know New Breed has been around for some years as well. But I saw that you said that this was recorded at Camp New Breed. So tell me about that.
Well, we had set out to do a retreat with our team, and my wife, who, you know, we already established has the best ideas, was like, let's turn this into a full-on summer camp. And I was like with kids, what, you know, what are we talking about? She's like, no, like adults, but like, let's have fun. Let's like have like a, you know, we found this camp, this massive water slide and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, let's just go like connect. And you know, at first I was like, I don't know. I mean, that sounds a little, I don't know. And man, I'm so glad I listened because it's easily the best thing we've ever done.
Wow.
And one of the most intentional things we've ever done. And now we're going to do a lot more. And we're working on securing our own camp for worship leaders, for worship teams, for pastoral teams, whatever, anybody who wants to come and kind of get away and you know, just recharge and recreate. Recreation is recreation. So like a lot of times when you feel like I'm not creative anymore, like I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, sometimes the answer is not more work. Sometimes the answer is more fun.
Right.
You know, play, go exhale, go recharge and see what you come away with. And that was, you know, that was 4 months ago. And I still feel energized from what happened that week, honestly. Yeah.
Well, put my name down on the next time. Put my name on the waiting list. So, like I said, I could just feel the energy through the videos. It looked like y'all were having a great time. So I think that makes a difference as well. So once again, Worship Anywhere. Tell us where we can get it. Can we get it anywhere? Is the question.
Anywhere you get music right now. Anywhere you stream music, you should be able to get it. The video is out as well. If people go to our website, israelandnewbreed.com, they can get all the links and all the information to watch the whole live concert as well.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me today. And for all our listeners, I know they appreciate it as well. And like I said, I've enjoyed the songs I have heard from Worship Anywhere, but I'm definitely going to listen to the rest of it. So
thank you, man.
So excited about that. But thank you so much.